Hi, this is Jonathan Alexander. Welcome back to my videos for the February Legacy Challenge where I played Canadian Threshold. As a reminder, I won the first round against Loam, and here for the second round I'm on the play, and as you can see my opening 7 has no lands. I do have 2 Wastelands and 2 Dismembers, so I actually can cast spells, but True Name Nemesis is not exactly the easiest card to cast with this kind of hand. And Lightning Bolt also requires specific mana, so this is a clear mulligan, I think. A case can be made for double Wasteland hands on the draw, but I'm on the play, so I won't go there. Now we have this 6 card hand. We will later see that our opponent is also going to mulligan to 6. One thing I should point out is that I keep way more hands with Canadian Threshold than most other people. I think the deck mulligans extremely badly. I would say roughly half of the 6 card hands I ship away. So even mulligan 7 cards is not great. Mulling to 5 basically means you can't win. It's very hard to win with a deck that's built to trade on all aspects of the game. When you're down 3 cards from the get-go, well, 2 cards maybe even only, maybe our opponent mulligans even more after the 6 card hand, but still I do not like starting with 5 cards on the play. I think this hand is reasonable to keep. It's really good if I get a land in the first draw step. Probably still alright if I get a land in the second draw step, and I also have the Scry to help out. There's also the possibility my opponent after their mulligan only has 1 non-basic land, and I get to buy a lot of time with the Wasteland. So yeah, I think this hand is a keep. Let's see what's happening. Opponent mulligan to 5, interestingly, so maybe it would have been good to mulligan to 5 as well. But if our opponent mulligans to 5, this also makes my current hand better. And this True Name Nemesis on the top of my library is something I definitely do not want to draw with this hand. So let's go. I'm going to play the Wasteland on turn 1, I think. In case I get a land next turn, so I can keep Stifle and Wasteland up. My opponent basic planes. One thing that is notable at this point is that I think I can never win this game, because as you can see, my opponent has this DK bit at the end of their name, which makes me believe they're from Denmark. And I've been to Denmark to play. I have friends in Denmark, and they have been plagued with Death and Taxes, and I do not think this is the kind of hand you want versus Death and Taxes. But as it turns out, this is not what's going on. Still not doing anything. Opponent now fetching. And now we know they're not Death and Taxes. And they're Miracles. So this Monastery Mentor I'm going to have to force, obviously. I'm going to pitch a Stifle because Stifle is not great when our opponent is already down on cards and has 3 lands. Well, 2 lands after activating the Wasteland. It's definitely the least valuable card though. I have the Wasteland to put my opponent back to 2 lands, sorry, and the Ponder. So that's what I want to be doing when I draw land. So I'm using Force, pitching Stifle. And my opponent is forcing back, and I'm again forcing, pitching Stifle. I'm not sure if that's what's going on, but it's the correct play, and it's what I do. And now this Mentor is in fact countered. And I do draw the Volcanic Island. I'm going to ponder here and try to hit a green source. And I do hit 2 fetch lands in the Spell Pierce, which is pretty much perfect. I don't think there's a better draw than Spell Pierce as spells go. Brainstorm would be a consideration, but I'm down so far on cards, as is my opponent, that it's not really worth it. So yeah, this is great for me. I get to shuffle away the second land. Waste the Tundra. And opponent has main phase Brainstorm, which I do not worry about. And they're Brainstorm locked, which is great. I'm gonna go ahead and cast Nimble Mongoose here, which they're forcing. And I think at this point, with my opponent on 1 card, I should Spell Pierce this. Which I do. And if I remember correctly, my opponent is now going to Miracle Terminus. Oh no, they're going to do that next turn. So here I draw the fetch land. And I think I want to get the extra damage in, so I crack the fetch land. My opponent did not Miracle last turn, after the Brainstorm. But they're gonna do so now, unfortunately. So there goes my Mongoose, and making my fetching very bad. Brainstorm, great draw, not using it because I want to be... I want to have information. Ponder, on the other hand, something I do want to fire off. This is a clear shuffle. This Ponder does nothing. And we get a Barbarian Ring, which also isn't the greatest card. Predict, blind, top, slightly annoying because now my opponent has good draws. I draw another land, so I fire off the Brainstorm. Here I think it's pretty clear that I put back the Barbarian Ring and one of the fetch lands to keep another fetch land to shuffle away, and Mandrils and Wasteland to get some pressure going. Notably, I'm playing live from the Loam main deck, so what I want to delve away are not my lands. One land I can delve away, but I should keep at least one of each fetch and the Wasteland, so I'm also representing 1 mana open for Spell Pierce or Spell Snare for my opponent to play around. And I did in fact delve away 2 lands, because I have the second Wasteland. I'm not sure I agree with that. To be fair though, I only have 2 more lands in my deck to fetch. And my opponent has Swords, which is annoying. That I exactly drew Hooting Mandrils there. I draw another land, which is pretty bad. Notably, I'm going to play this land out to represent Force of Will, and also the Flooded Strand of the Wasteland. So if I draw Cantrip, Ponder or Brainstorm, I have a shuffle effect ready. Nimble Mongoose, great draw. Unfortunately, I'm a little low on cards in graveyard. My opponent Brainstorm, probably putting back Terminus, but there's nothing I could do. No Terminus, but Counterbalance, which I also can't do anything about, which is unfortunate. So now I have to hope the Nimble Mongoose goes all the way. Fetching for the extra damage again. Not casting Ponder because my opponent has balance in top. And at this point the game is basically over, but I'm still keep on playing because I have True Names in my deck, which are hard to counter with Counterbalance. And I do draw a True Name Nemesis, which is great. Are they going to counter it with balance? They are not. One thing I'd like to point out is that I think my opponent should have tapped Plains instead of Island to be able to draw into Counterspell. They're not going to end step Terminus here. So if they don't find Terminus, they should likely draw into Counterspell to deal with the True Name. And interestingly, my opponent did have a 3-drop in Council's Judgment, which will get rid of my True Name. So they likely had that in hand, not on top of the library. True name gone. I draw more dead cards. Nothing happens. I draw another land. At this point I'm basically waiting to draw another True Name or Hooting Mandrils. Mandrils probably immediately going to get countered with swords. Now my opponent has a clock and an extra card, which is annoying. And I think it's right around the time that I'm conceding this game. My opponent now has 5 lands, top and balance. Now they're gonna play Mentor as well. And this is actually what's going to kill me. For some reason I'm not going to lightning bolt the Mentor in response to the trigger. I don't know why. And now I'm drawing for my turn, casting True Name. My opponent's forcing that, getting another token, and then I think I just concede. Or I make my opponent kill me, which... oh yeah, actually I'm going to make my opponent kill me because these games against Miracles, especially post-board, can go really long, and time has a very real win condition on Magic Online. In Canadian Threshold versus Miracles, quite frequently my opponents are on under 5 minutes on their clock if it comes to a game 3, and as you can see my opponent is using up a full minute here, I think. Pretty close to that at least. So this is why I just f6 in my opponent's turn and make them actually kill me. Also gives me some time to collect myself. And there's the attack, and I'm dead.